it's Enigma, and today I figured we might as well go over what is inside of this thing right here. Now, this bag right here is the most important bag that I have ever made within the fighting game community. Now, given this isn't actually a handmade bag, I literally just found this in my garage and then I just started using it. But what makes this important is that this is what I consider to be my gear bag. When you're playing in a lot of local tournaments, you're typically going to want to carry a few things with you aside from your controller. And this is a trend that I've noticed a lot of other players using. In fact, I've seen a lot of people carrying like small little satchels, full-on backpacks, etc. And they'll always carry their most important essentials. So I figured I might as well go over what's inside of mine, what makes it a little bit more different compared to other players, as well as give some players some inspiration as to what they can do with their own gear bags. Starting with the most important thing that should be inside of your gear bag, and that is your controller. You obviously cannot play anything if you don't have your controller. As for which controller you should start using, you should start with the controller that you feel the most comfortable with. I've really enjoyed using this one. This is the Hot 42 T13. This is a customized version though, because I ended up changing the colorway to match the resonance skill, especially with the character that I ended up placing on here, which is Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen. This is the thing that I love about the T13, is that you can just slide in whatever artwork that you want, both in the front and in the back. But you also can't use your controller unless you have one of these. Now this is a USB Type-C cable, which is the cable that you need in order to use the flat box. Now I try to keep a few extras, but my advice is to at the very least carry between 2 to 3 extra cables, because there is a chance that one of them might not work. You'd be surprised how often I've ran into this issue, not just with my own controller, but with other people's controllers as well. And you don't want to be that person that just scrambles around trying to find an extra controller or an extra cable. I always like to think ahead, and I try to carry 2 to 3. That way, if anybody needs an extra cable, I can just easily hand it out. And if for some reason my cable isn't connecting, I can just switch it out. And speaking of extra controllers, I always try to keep a backup flat box. For those who follow me on Instagram, you would know what this flat box looks like. Unfortunately, I can't really show it off to YouTube because of the terms of service. But there is something else that's inside of here which I can't show you. Now this right here might look like a basic pencil case. Well, it is a basic pencil case, but what's inside of here is something that you should start carrying, or in my case, it's a few extra things that you should start carrying. Like I said, I keep extra cables inside of here just to be safe. And another thing that I keep inside of here are extra button caps and extra buttons. And you can't use those without one of these. So what this is this is a keycap puller as well as a switch remover tool. The benefit about having the controllers that I use is that they're hot swappable. So if for some reason I need to switch out the switches or replace a keycap, just by having one of these, I can easily just pop it open, switch it out, and I'm good to go. And most importantly, this has been a lifesaver when it comes to playing on local tournaments. Most of the time when you're going to be playing on locals, well, in my case, everybody has been using a PlayStation 5 to host their tournaments. And I don't blame them, it's a good console. But the controllers that I use were not made to work on that thing. That's where this comes in handy. What this is a PS5 converter. The way this works is you connect this onto a slot that is in your flat box, and immediately your flat box is gonna work perfectly in sync with the PlayStation 5. Again, this is another reason why I love this flat box, because this has a designated zone in which you can just connect the converter. But if your controller doesn't have that, you can just take an extra cable, connect it to the converter, and then you can connect your converter like this onto the console. I will have a link to this one in the description box below if you want to pick one up for yourself. Okay, so right now I'm just going to quickly open up this other section, which has a few interesting items which you wouldn't expect to have, starting with a notebook. Now, usually when you're coming up with some ideas when it comes to combos or when it comes to meeting people and you want to just like follow them on social media, it's always a good thing to write down this stuff on a notebook. I'm not going to open this up and show you what's on it because I actually managed to meet a few cool people and they even gave me their numbers, but to avoid doxing them, this is staying closed. Another thing that I like to keep in that pocket is the instruction manual for the Hot 42 T13. You can't remember everything that this controller can do, so it's always a good idea to, at the very least, keep the instructions with you at all times. This has saved my butt multiple times when it comes to trying to fix a certain issue. Another thing that I like to keep inside of that pocket is facial tissues. This should be a no-brainer. It's better to be safe than sorry. But speaking of hygiene, another thing that I keep inside of that pocket is some hand sanitizer. Now, I'm meeting a lot of people at these tournaments, and I don't want to get sick, so it's always a good idea to carry some hand sanitizer so that you can just really quickly sanitize as you go. Another thing that I keep inside of that pocket is money. Even though we're getting used to just using our cards, it's always a good idea to carry some cash. And the last thing that I keep inside of that pocket is my compression gloves. Ever since I started using these compression gloves, these things have helped me out a lot, especially since, as I mentioned in You Should Start Wearing These video, my hands sweat a lot. I don't want to be that person that is that has moist hands due to sweat. Another reason why I carry the hand sanitizer as well, and this right here helps absorb a lot of sweat. That way I don't have to, shake other people's hands while my hands are gross. I'd rather have them clean. Now we're moving on to this pocket right here. This right here, I feel like I'm probably the only person that does this, but that's probably going to change after this video goes up. Now, what I have in here is kind of interesting. We're going to start out with this right over here. I don't want to be that person that has bad smelling breath. I always try to carry at least a pack or two of chewing gum. And funny enough, this was a trick that I used to use a lot when I was younger. Specifically when I was studying. Studies have shown that when you chew mint flavored gum like this, your grades are usually going to get a lot higher. The reason for that is because you're going to be able to concentrate and absorb a lot more information. And this is a trick that I have been using even when I was learning fighting games. Try this out for yourself, you'd be surprised. Another thing that I like to keep inside of here is a bottle of cologne. I don't like using body spray. I've seen people that use body spray in these events. It really doesn't smell all that great. I prefer real cologne. And finally, stick of deodorant. I don't want to be that guy that just doesn't wear deodorant. I'm always putting on deodorant, but there are times in which I feel like I need a little bit more, so I always carry a small little travel pack of deodorant just in case. And this is what goes into my gear bag whenever I'm going into local tournaments. So feel free to agree or disagree. Let me know in the comment section down below if you do. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I really hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and also subscribe to my channel and turn on post notifications so that you never miss out on a video or a live stream. And if you would like to help support the channel, check out buymeacoffee.com/Enygma. Links for everything will be down in the description box below. And as always, this is San Diego Shooting Star, signing out.